Wall Street Memes Casino,
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV. It is the start of Knockout Chaos here in Riyadh. I'm delighted to be joined in person again. We usually do the ones over Zoom. Correspondent Gareth A. Davies, looking very rock and roll for Knockout Chaos.
Absolutely, nothing better than this. Third time in Saudi Arabia in, 5 months now for this. Ring of Fire obviously postponed till May the 18th, but the agony will come when those two get in the ring. It's going to be an amazing fight. Great to be here for Knockout Chaos. Brilliant cards. We've got some of the lighter fighters as well, of course, with Ray Vargas and Nick Ball fighting for the featherweight title. So really looking forward to it. Heavyweights will predominate here, of course, with Joseph Parker and Zhilei Zhang. Fascinating fight. And of course, Anthony Joshua against Francis Ngannou. The rumble in Riyadh for Knockout Chaos. And I'll tell you what, they do not do things by halves here. We are in an amphitheatre all week. Have you shown the viewers?
Yeah, with a Greek theme, might I add.
Well, we're in Greece as part of the Riyadh season. We're in this amphitheatre that it's got its steps. It's quite amazing. The sun's just going down. Stoked, absolutely stoked.
How much of a potential banana skin could this fight be on Friday night for Anthony Joshua?
Well, Anthony Joshua is a big puncher. He looks fantastic at the moment. His fight with Otto Wallin showed that he's back to his best. The union with Ben Davison looks fascinating. Ben Davison's giving him game plans, and Lee Wiley, of course. He's got to get the job done in a very, very composed and disciplined way, like he did against Otto Wallin, and make sure he chops down the big tree that Francis Ngannou is. He's hittable, but he's got to make inroads. And the jeopardy here and the anomaly, if you like, of this big guy that's come in from mixed martial arts is, can you put a dent in him with boxing gloves? No one's really been able to do it with 4-ounce mixed martial arts gloves. So Joshua's literally got to hit him with some big shots and get his respect early. He could easily be a banana skin, but I do think Joshua's got the wherewithal to do it.
Can you see a situation where we see a repeat of what happened with Fury and Ngannou, where Joshua is dropped in that fight by Ngannou?
Yes, I can. You sit there in your half sleep, and as we do, and you think about and you dream about the fight. I could see a close points decision with Joshua having to come through a tough last couple of rounds if Ngannou's still there. I can see Joshua chopping him down and stopping him late. I can see Joshua going hard early if he goes hard early and winning inside 5. I could see Ngannou dropping Joshua and winning himself. That's the thing. There are loads of outcomes. My pick is Joshua to win late or on points. But you cannot write Francis Ngannou off. You can't write him off because of his life story. You can't write him off because of those 30 minutes that he showed us against Tyson Fury, where he can box, he holds his shape well, he punches with you, he can switch to southpaw from orthodox. He's very well schooled. And of course, what a lot of casual MMA fans and hardcore boxing fans may not know is that Ngannou is much more of a striker in mixed martial arts than he is a ground guy or a jiu-jitsu guy. So all his best work is on the feet. The way he's really been beaten in mixed martial arts, certainly by Stipe Miocic for the UFC heavyweight crown, was taking him to the ground and keeping him on the ground.
It's interesting.
Thank you.
You have a wealth of knowledge across both sports. So
well, I've been covering TV, radio, and newspaper on mixed martial arts since the UFC came to Europe in 2005. So, it's something that is with me. I'm working with PFL, who were out here a couple of weeks ago. I'm working with them this summer. Shout out to PFL. There we go. I got stitched then. I got hit hard to plug the PFL. Obviously, I had it. What was that? 2 weeks ago they had the event out here, wasn't it? Look, Ngannou has got, as Dewey Cooper, his trainer, told me a couple of days ago, whatever you think about Francis and his boxing skills, he has the intangibles in his life that have taken him on this extraordinary journey, walking out of Cameroon, of Batié, at the age of 26, and making his way into France, sleeping on the streets, being an illegal immigrant at one point. I've just written a big piece about it in the Telegraph today, a big interview with him, and how he went through the desert, he went through Niger, he went through Morocco, can't swim, and he got on a dinghy. You know this, he got on a dinghy 6 times to try and cross from Morocco to Spain. He's had a really incredible life. He lived in the forests to evade the customs and immigration people from Morocco. And then he finds himself in Las Vegas after 6 years in mixed martial arts, fighting for the UFC crown. So it's an extraordinary story. The intangibles really count in our sport. Fury has them as well, of course. And when you expect something, him to dip in his career, he comes up with a great performance. That's what Joshua needs to do. And then we can compare them on a yardstick, because maybe all roads lead to Fury and Joshua later this year.
Of course they do, or do they? Talking of Tyson Fury, we assume that Tyson Fury will be in Riyadh this week. We know he's in camp over in Jeddah, but he will be in Riyadh this week. It's weird because they don't normally go to each other's fights, do they? Do you remember the last time they were actually at one another's fights?
Fury and Joshua? Never. Can't remember it.
I think Joshua was one of Tyson Fury's early fights in his career, because there's footage of Joshua in the crowd.
But they are going to be now, because they're all under the same banner, aren't they? They're all under, you know, the Queensberry banner. Joshua's fighting on a Queensberry event, isn't he, here? So, no, it's fantastic for boxing, because it's getting the same, the people that should be dealing with each other under the same roof. It's great to have Frank Warren, Queensberry fighters against Eddie Hearn's Matchroom fighters in June. These are advancements for the sport. You always want. Muhammad Ali was at other fighters' press conferences. He went to their gyms. You know, he went to their fights. It's great for the sport. All it does is put fire under the next event.
Did you take half an inch back? Literally half. That's it. Perfect. Okay, news yesterday that Dillian Whyte has been cleared by the Texas State Commission.
You went all Jamaican on us then, didn't you? Dillian
White.
Dillian, yeah.
Which is good news for Dillian. Obviously, we haven't heard too much of that situation. We have learned a little bit yesterday about what's been happening regarding contaminated substances, etc. But he's got the go-ahead from the Texas State Commission. We don't know where he stands in regards to the British Boxing Board. Do you know anything more about this situation, Gareth?
Well, what I know is that he's proved his innocence by ratifying the fact that there was, a contaminated substance in a supplement, and well done on them keeping the log numbers of the supplements he was taking, because fighters should learn from this. They've obviously kept the detail, and they've been able to prove his innocence. I'm really pleased for Dillian, and also for Dillian it must have been very, very difficult to keep his counsel. He's not a guy that wants to go and hide away. He hasn't said a word. It's a fight we all wanted to see. For me, it never made any sense that Dillian Whyte would cheat to face Anthony Joshua. It just didn't make any sense at all. Big fight for him, a fight we never got. Maybe we'll still get it at some point, but I'm really pleased for him that he's proved his innocence and that he's back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way they kind of handled it, obviously a lot of stuff was going on behind the scenes, etc. And we didn't hear from Dillian over that kind of however many months it was, 6-7 month period. But he's got a positive outcome, and he's going to be a welcome addition to the heavyweight merry-go-round there is in Saudi and at home.
Dillian, you've got me doing it now. Dillian's a big bruising heavyweight. He's a great character, great personality. He's had some amazing fights. I'm sure he wants to get in the mix, and it'll be great to see him in this mix here in Saudi Arabia, or at least in the current heavyweight mix. Not every single heavyweight fight is going to be in Saudi Arabia. It's just we're creating, I'm not, but they're creating the Super League at the moment, and he'd be a welcome addition to it. There's great fights for him against Arslanbek Makhmudov, against Kabayel, for example, against Deontay Wilder,
Dubois.
Against Dubois, all these fights. Joe Joyce he hasn't fought. Might even get Derek Chisora back for another fight with Dillian. You never know.
Who knows? Gareth, what have you made of the situation regarding Canelo? I mean, 1 minute it's something. But these are all kind of speculation and rumours, more so than any kind of official confirmation of Canelo's situation regarding BBC. And I mean, Amazon was chucked in there the other day. Obviously, there's still a situation with Canelo and DAZN. I mean, what can you tell us about this?
Well, he's a very powerful figure in the boxing world, isn't he? I mean, outside the heavyweights. So, I mean, in fact, even inside the heavyweights, he's the most watched boxer in the whole of the sport, if you count the Mexican audience. I think it looks to me like he's done a deal with the PBC to get himself out of his final couple of fights. We understand it's Edgar Berlanga that he's going to fight, yeah?
Jaime Munguia?
Or Jaime Munguia.
Munguia even?
Yeah, and if he does so, great. But I think they're lining up. I think they're lining Canelo up right now as my challenger. We'll have an interview later on in the week with Mr. McCart. Yeah, we will, because we talked about the fight last time. It's going to be on pay-per-view on YouTube at some point. Me and you. Yeah. Body shot, 4th round. But which way? Anyway, Canelo, come back again. Come on. It's a really interesting situation with Canelo, and here's my hunch. They put him in with Berlanga or Munguia. He wins that, and then they look to get Canelo over here later in the Riyadh season 2025, the beginning of the Riyadh season 24-25, against the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. Who would not want to see Canelo against Beterbiev? And what a fight that is.
Well, the winner of that fight, you mean?
The winner of Beterbiev and Bivol against Canelo. But if Bivol loses to Beterbiev, we get Canelo against Beterbiev. That's a fantastic fight.
Oh, absolutely. Gareth, saw Tyson Fury put a post out today saying inside 7 rounds, directing it against NGANNOU. Do you remember a few years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, before Fury and Wilder 2, Tyson Fury was making some comments about how offensive he was going to be in that fight, and no one really took him seriously until it happened. Do you see something there?
It's a slightly different scenario in my view.
Absolutely.
Because he came out of that 12th round after being knocked down in the Battle of Los Angeles, where it was a draw against Wilder, fighting back against Wilder after being dropped, and they picked that up and they took that into training camp and into that second fight. Like you say, it was a 7th round stoppage, wasn't it? I just think it makes sense with the postponements to Fury and Usyk, for him to talk about getting the job done early. Even psychologically, it's a great move to say, I'm going to go in there and put it on him. He's the bigger, stronger guy, he's a heavier guy, maybe not necessarily stronger, I don't know, but the bigger, heavier guy, the taller guy, the longer reach, big booming hands. It makes sense to put it on Usyk. When the few times that Chisora put it on him a little bit, Daniel Dubois did, even though I think it was a low blow. You want to put Usyk under pressure. Anthony Joshua put Usyk under pressure at stages in their second fight. So yeah, it makes sense. I like it. Go in there and get the job done. I still think it'll be a very close fight, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's a controversial draw.
Gareth A. Davies has said that there first. Gareth, reliving your youth, or last week as it's also known.
Reliving? I'm just living.
Gareth, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. We will definitely catch up with you again at some point this week.
Please, please, please. Yeah, I'd love to catch up with you. Please, please, please show your subscribers this arena at some point when it's not dark, and because it's amazing to see.
Gareth, thank you very much. We certainly shall be doing that.
Pleasure. Cheers.
God bless.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.